There are 10 steps that you need to take if you want to become a better witch. There are 10 steps that you need to take if you want to become a better witch. What's up, witches? I'm Alysha Kravetz, aka Bronx Witch, and welcome back to my channel. Before I get into breaking down these 10 steps, I want to let you know that I am going to be teaching my 10 steps to becoming a better witch free webinar this upcoming weekend. Yes, I know, short notice, but I wanted to make sure that you knew about it. I have taught this webinar in the past, and I've even offered it as a full-length class on my shop's online portal, and I'm bringing it back to teach it once again. I think the first time I taught this webinar was maybe back in 2021, and it has been incredible how impactful this material has been. There have been a couple hundred witches that have taken the class, and dozens of witches that have enrolled in my Better Witch Magic Intensive, my 6-month-long class and coaching program. And it's been incredibly rewarding to see folks interested in witchcraft who feel like they are just doing witchy things actually go to the next level of becoming witches and incorporating magic into every part of their lives. Becoming more proficient diviners, more proficient casters, and just generally having a better understanding of how the craft can improve their lives and help them to improve the lives of the people around them. If you don't know who I am, like I said, I'm Alysha Kravetz. I'm the Bronx Witch, and I started on my magical journey when I was 12 years old, which is 25 plus years ago now. I have always wanted to live a magical life. I always felt like the things that I was taught as a child growing up in a really Christian household didn't quite answer all of my questions and didn't seem to align or make sense with what I felt was happening within myself and the world around me. I always felt like there was a power inside of myself that I wanted to access, and learning more about the craft allowed me to do that. So fast forward to now, I am the owner of BronxWitch HeadQuarters, which is the only co-working space specifically dedicated to spiritual practitioners and magical practitioners in all of New York City. And I'm also the CEO of BetterWitch Coaching, which is a class and coaching program offering education on everything from the craft and divination to spiritual entrepreneurship. And it has been quite a journey. That 25-year journey has been filled with a lot of trial and error, some mistakes, and certainly a lot of loneliness, because I didn't have a lot of people around me who were also interested in the craft to support me or to just kind of be like my witchy bestie while I was learning all of these things. And what I have done in the last few years is I have taken the things that I have learned and the big aha moments in that 25-year journey, and I have broken them down into 10 steps. There are 10 areas of the craft that every witch needs to, if not be proficient in, at least have a good understanding of how it works in order for the craft to become something that you don't just do on the side, but that is really a part of who you are and how you live your life. In the webinar, I'm going to walk you through each of these 10 steps and show you how you can take them in your life and basically take yourself on something of like a crash course witchy boot camp so that you going from doing witchy things to being a practitioner is something that doesn't take you 25 years, okay? And this class has been taken by a couple hundred witches now. I first offered it back in, I think 2021 was the first time. It's been offered on my shop's online portal, which is where we keep all of our educational material. And I'm really proud that so many witches have been helped by, me breaking down this information in this way. So I'm really excited to offer it again to a new batch of witches. Registering for the webinar is super easy. I'll put the link like up and down and all around and all of that good stuff. And you're definitely going to want to be there. The journey from going from someone who does witchy things to being an actual practitioner is one that needs to hit certain milestones, I think, in order for the craft to really become something that is who you are. And the very beginning, like the first 2 steps that we talk about, is something that I call unveiling the true self. In Hindu mysticism, this is called self-realization, but I call it unveiling the true self, because when you understand that you are not your body and you are not your mind, that there is a component to you that is everlasting, that has been here long before you ever were a physical body and will continue to exist long after you do, you start to look at yourself in a very different way. You start to look at yourself the way witches look at themselves, which is as energy versus as matter. Once you realize that you're more energy than matter, the next question that logically flows from that is, how do I actually connect with that part of myself and listen to that part of myself more than I listen to my body and my mind? Being able to identify the energy that is within you is the first step to effective spell casting, to effective divination, because that's all witches are doing when they're casting and divining. They are shifting and manipulating energy. So if you're going to expect yourself to be able to do that, you have to be able to sense energy, which is a very subtle type of frequency to be able to tap into. And so I start us off with being able to tap into that frequency within ourselves, because that's, I think, easier than trying to pick up on or shift energy outside of yourself. But once you become comfortable with sensing the energy that is within yourself, then you are able to start picking up on shifts in energy that are happening around you in the natural world, that are happening in other people, and that may even be happening in other realms, like in the spiritual realm or in the astral realm. This is always a really mind-blowing or eye-opening part of the journey in the 10 steps that I break down, because for those of you who are interested in tarot, using pendulums, runes, any form of divination, at this point you might just be trying to memorize meanings or learn how to work with certain tools. And when you become comfortable with receiving frequencies and shifts in the energetic world around you, you actually start to use those divination tools the way that they're intended, as tools that will help you to translate the messages that are being sent to you from beyond yourself. And this is really powerful. So if you are interested in tarot reading, you're trying to learn how to divine messages through the tarot or through any form of divination, going on this journey of actually being able to receive the messages that shifts in energy bring you, mind-blowing. Okay, that is where you go from just reading cards or reading runes to really divining messages from outside yourself and using the cards or the runes to translate those messages. Now, receiving messages energetically is something that you have to really program yourself to be able to do, because you have to be in a certain state of sensitivity in order to feel those really subtle shifts. So if you've ever wondered why some witches bother to cast circles or create sacred space before they do any type of spell casting or divining, this is why. We cast circles and we create sacred space in order to get rid of any like noisy vibrations, any distracting vibrations that might make it difficult for us to pick up on these really subtle shifts and changes. So learning how to create sacred space, learning how to open up portals of energetic communication is going to be key for any witch that really wants to make the craft a part of who they are and how they navigate the world. With these foundations in place, you put yourself in a place where you're able to now cast with consistency, which I think ultimately is what every witch wants, right? Like when we first come to the craft, we might be thinking about some of the other deeper implications, but at the end of the day, we want to be able to cast spells that work. And we want to be able to know before we cast a spell what we can expect from the results. And that happens once you take those previous steps. Once you recognize that you are energy, once you become sensitive to picking up on energetic shifts, and once you get good at creating portals for energetic communication. Now, not only are you able to feel and sense and in tune the messages that your energetic self is sending you, now not only are you able to receive messages from outside of yourself with clarity, but you're also now able to send messages out with clarity. You're able to tell the universe what it is that you want, and you're able to shift the energy around you in alignment with your desired result. Throughout this entire process, like in my process, one of the mistakes that I made is not documenting all of the things that I was working on, experiencing, etc. And I actually made a video about it, so I might link that up above. But if I forget, you can just go to my channel and search for mistakes because I made a whole video about how I was going about my magical journaling totally wrong. If I could go back, that is one thing that I would change. I would have done a much better job of, instead of trying to create like a textbook for myself or like a how-to guide on the craft, I would have done a better job of just journaling, like keeping a diary about all the things that I was doing every time I went to a witchy shop, or I took another class, or I tried a new spell, or I bought a new tarot deck. I wish that I had done a better job over the years of recording those instances. Recording your progress as a practitioner is super, super helpful because it helps you to see what you have actually learned so that you don't have to keep relearning it, right? Because like you learn something and then you kind of forget it and then you have to learn it all over again. But if you keep a record of it, that's much less likely to happen. And it just sort of speeds up your learning curve, speeds up the process of getting better at anything. So I talk about the importance of keeping a magical record, but I also break down how you should go about doing it. Because I was keeping a magical record, I was just doing it all wrong, and in a way that ultimately wasn't helpful over the years. So throughout this process, you want to keep a magical record. And then finally, I think the really like cementing thing that you can do for yourself is to find community. It's one of the reasons why I created HQ. For my entire life, I never had that. And there are certainly shops. This is New York City, so we've got crystal shops, we've got witchy stores. But what do you do when you're done shopping? What do you do when you're not trying to buy more stuff? When you want someone to go with you to festivals and events? You want a community of people that are maybe celebrating the Sabbats or, experiencing the same like growth and energetic shift, or that just want to talk about the types of things that are interesting to you. That is super, super important. So that's sort of an overview of the 10 steps to becoming a better witch. And obviously in the webinar, I'm going to break them down in detail and explain to you the importance of them and how you can actually do them so that you can stop, buying books that you don't read or watching videos that you forget about, and stop just like doing witchy things, and actually become a practitioner who's living a life that's magical, and that is, one that you're creating for yourself. So I will drop the details above, below, what have you. The webinar goes down this weekend, and I am super excited to see you all there. Of course, it's totally free, so just make sure you're registered. And if you're registered, of course, you have access to the replay if you can't tune in live. And yeah, I'm just really excited to bring this webinar live once again, to a whole new batch of practitioners that are out there, okay? So yeah, stay tuned. I will see you there. And if you have any questions, you can drop them down in the comments. See you soon. Blessed be.